Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing the next episode in our series of Wheel of No Appeal. Now I am so not excited to start this because if you watched the last Wheel of No Appeal, I got hijinxed. It was just unfair. It was unfair. It was Pride of the Orange Tree if you didn't know. So go back and watch that if you want to watch me read Pride of the Orange Tree, which was my biggest Wheel of No Appeal ever, and I was expecting it to be there for months. It was almost my way of procrastinating, but saying, hey, I did something about it by putting it on here. But it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way, and I ended up having to read it, which, it was a good thing that I had to read it. But we are here today because we need to spin again, and I don't know what month this is going to be for. It is the middle of May. It's May 18th, I think, today. And I don't know if I want this to be a May book or a June book, but I think we're just gonna go with episode 4 for right now. So we are going to spin for episode 4. First, we need to do some bookkeeping and we need to update our Wheel of No Appeal. So first, obviously, we need to take off Priory because we read that. But we are also going to be taking off Empire of the Vampire because I'm currently working on my Illumicrate catch-up book box catch-up thing, so I'm going to be reading that in the very first one, so can't be on here, can't be in 2 videos. So I got 2 red spaces to fill, and what's funny, if you guys have watched this from the beginning, you would know that originally Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow was on here on a red space, but I took it off because I thought I was going to read it in March, and then I definitely did not end up reading it in March, so I'm putting Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow back on here. So Tomorrow times 3 is going back on a red space. And then I was looking upstairs for what else I wanted to put on a red space, and I think I'm going to go with Ordinary Monsters. It's definitely a book I have no intention of picking up, especially after hearing all the people who've read it. I just have no interest to read it whatsoever. So yeah, I feel like it's got to go on here. So I feel like that's a pretty good updated list. And as we go on and do these book box catch-ups, they will be removed from here. But like, if I land on, I think Legendborn is the only one. Oh my gosh, I read Daughter of the Moon Goddess too. Dang. But if I land on Legendborn, I'm gonna read it in this, and I'll just exclude it from the catch-up book blog. Man, I need to look at this. I did not realize I had that on here. So now I gotta find a blue space. Blue is good. So what good book that I'm not that interested in do I want to put on here? I feel like I want to put something short, but I also want to put on here something that I've had for a while. So, oh, this is perfect. Okay, so I've had this book for a very long time, The Invisible Library. I have no idea what it's about, but I just keep not picking it up. But it's a pretty short book, and I really haven't heard anything about it, so I feel like this is a good, safe option that I'm not gonna pick up otherwise. So let's add this quickly to the spinner. Also, I'm sorry, it's pretty dark in here. It's making the lighting look really nice, but it is dark. I wasn't expecting to film this today, but I kind of just wanted to get it over with instead of it hanging over my head. Okay, that is, I think, fully updated. We have Legendborn, The Invisible Library, Tomorrow times 3, The Magicians, the whole series, Threadneedle, The Betrayals, Babel, Hester, Jackal, Ordinary Monsters, The Devouring Grey, The Rules of Magic, The Jasmine Throne, Lessons in Chemistry, and Legendborn. I don't know where I started in the wheel, but we are going to spin. I'm trying to decide how close I want to get this. Okay, it's gonna be a little bit of an odd angle because I don't know exactly how to film this right now because, again, like I said, it's kind of dark, so I can't just take my phone off and film it, and I don't want to anyway because it's being a pain in the butt. So here is the spin. Oh my gosh, okay. That was a hugely favorable sin, although it was almost really bad because we almost got Ordinary Monsters. But guys, I finally got a green spot. I got The Devouring Grey. It's funny because I was just looking at that today. So I am so excited to actually read this one. And yeah, I'm ridiculously excited about this. I was so scared it was gonna be another red space. I don't know if I could handle that. If it had landed on Babel, this probably would have come out in 3 months. So I am so excited it landed on The Devouring Grey. I definitely think I got a lucky draw with that one. All right, I am in the car actually, waiting for my husband to get back inside from the ice cream place. We are actually about 30 minutes from my parents' house. We're really excited. We're spending the whole week here, so it's gonna be a really fun time. And I will be reading The Devouring Gray while I'm at my parents' house. And I'm really excited to say that I'm already 75 pages in, and I am kind of obsessed with it. Oh yeah, and Taz is right there. He's not happy. He wants to be out of the car. It's been 6 hours. This is a long drive to get here. But yeah, so I'm about 75 pages in and I'm really loving it. I had no idea that this is the same author who was one of the co-authors for When We Were Villains, which I absolutely loved that first book. Did not like the second book, so I'm a little nervous about like the second book in this series. But I am pretty much like loving it, loving the writing style the same way I loved the writing style in When We Were Villains. So I'm just kind of having a great time. The vibes are so good. It's like this weird mix of the morally gray from When We Were Villains, the like town vibes of Twilight, which is really cool. Like I love the vibes of Twilight just because it's like rainy town, dark, kind of creepy kind of thing. And it definitely takes it a step further, almost like Vampire Diaries vibes as well, like on the darker side. And there is this mysterious thing called the Gray that is like taking people and killing them. And so we have our main characters, two of which are part of founding families. They're the children of founding families, and they're supposed to have these like powers that are able to counteract the Gray and keep it in check and save people and pull them out of the Gray. And then our other main character, because we have three main characters, our other main character is a part of a founding family, but the family moved away and she has no idea what any of this is about. So her family is just moving back due to some trauma that has just happened and some just really sad stuff that's going on. And so now she is kind of getting wrapped up in all of the drama of the town now. And so she's kind of gotten sucked into this world and she's figuring out powers, etc. So I'm vibing. This is exactly what I love in young adult. It very much is also giving me like House of Hollow vibes, which I loved. It's like a nature, dark, rainy, vibey young adult fantasy horror book, and I am literally living for it. I'm loving it so much. So I'm gonna continue reading. This shouldn't take me that long. I am so excited to continue reading it. I just realized I have yet to hold up Devouring Gray in a video clip yet in this video, and you know what? Not gonna hold it up here because this is a spur of the moment update and the book's upstairs, and that's just not happening. It's not happening. So you'll probably see it in like the end. I'll hold it up at the end. But yeah, Devouring Gray. I'm at like page 150 now, I think, because I think I updated the first time at like 70 something, so I thought it would be apt to update another 70-80 pages later. I feel like not that much has happened since I last updated, which is really sad because I was really enjoying it. And then it kind of majorly slowed down because they're trying to explain the world to the girl who is like not like in the world. Like she's now just trying to figure out her powers. So I liked figuring out the family background. I loved figuring out like what her powers are, and you are getting like, oh hey, this family does this, this family does this, this family does this, and it's kind of more, it's all making much more sense now. That was something I was starting to like have trouble with. I was having a hard time keeping straight everybody, but I finally feel like I get everything that's going on, and I'm starting to get back interested in it. So I feel like there was a bit of a pacing issue for the last 70 pages, but it's finally picking back up, and I feel myself wanting to like read it more. So that's good. Didn't love trying to slog through the last couple like pages, but we're getting there. I think it also doesn't help that I just read a couple books with super short chapters, and I love books with super short chapters, and these chapters are like your normal chapter length, like 15 to 20 pages, and it's just like, okay. And that's the thing, they didn't need to be like that because each chapter has more than one perspective in it. So like it'll start in one character's perspective, and then it'll like do those little like designs where it splits like two things. It'll do a design and then it'll start a new person's perspective. You could have just split up the chapters. Like, I get you're trying to say like, oh, this is kind of happening simultaneously, but you could just split it up into new chapters. You can. I think it would make the reading experience much more enjoyable to cut those chapters in half, because it feels like new chapters, which is basically how I'm reading it. I'm reading it as like those are different chapters. I mean, I'm still enjoying it. It's definitely not like blowing my mind or anything like that, but I am still enjoying it. We're continuing. I'm enjoying learning about the history. I just kind of want to get to the point where I understand the monster more. That's kind of what I'm missing right now. Like, I want to get what the monster is, or get like a better idea of what's happening and what started it. So that's kind of like what I want out of the book in the next 70 pages. I want to know a little bit more about that so I feel more tense, because right now it's like an unseen thing and it's kind of just becoming like a background thing because they're focused on other things. So I kind of want like an altercation with the monster, and that would like suck me back into the story. So that's kind of my little update. I don't know if I'll update again another 70 pages or I'll just finish the book. Don't know, it just depends what the pacing is and what I'm thinking about it. So I will see you in the next update. I didn't even realize that it is thunder and lightning outside. It's 9:30 at night. I've had my headphones in, been catching up on all the booktube content that I've been missing while I've been at my parents' house, because I don't know, like I was trying not to listen to stuff and just hang out with my parents and have a good time. We watched a lot of movies. It was super, super fun. So I'm just like behind by like a week on all the booktubers that I watched. So I've been doing that. And then I've been trying to read The Devouring Grey. Look, I showed it in a video. So I actually read a lot today. I have 50 pages left. I will be finishing it tonight, or worst case scenario in the morning, but most likely tonight. And it's, I was really, really, really enjoying it. And then it has done something that I really hate. Like, I really, really hate. So first of all, the things that I'm liking that it got into, I feel like they're hinting at these romances, but they're not making them the priority of this book. I feel like the romances are going to be like a thing in the second book, which I have decided spur of the moment that that book is going to be included in this vlog. Even if I don't, like, because I already have it, even if I don't like read it or like update a lot like I updated with this, I will tell you like at the end, like, hey, I finished it, I read it, this is what I thought about the duology as a whole, just because like this is definitely one that's going to leave on a cliffhanger, and I feel like I've got to read it, especially because it's only duology. It's not like there's 2 more books and they're not that long. So I am going to be continuing and reading the second book in this vlog, which is really exciting. So very quickly, because again, don't want this to be too long, the things that I like that are doing, like I said, the romance is very slow moving. It's not the point of the book. I didn't even think there was going to be a romance, but it's kind of hinting at 2 different romances, which is interesting. I'm enjoying that. So that's cool. And I love how slow paced it is. So it feels very realistic. There's actually relationships being formed in real time, and it's nice. The altercation with the beast is what I wanted, and it happened, and it went well. It made the book more exciting, sped things up. We learned a lot about the characters, a lot about the secrets going on. And then it did something I hate. My number one dislike for books, okay, actually, my number one dislike for books is reading books about twins. I don't know what it is. It really bugs me, especially mystery thrillers. My second biggest thing is memory loss. I hate memory loss. And in this book, there is a character that can induce memory loss, because every character has like a different ability. You don't really know that much of them because there's been issues with memory loss. So some people don't know their powers. So we just found out that there's like some things, like some people have lost their memories, etc. And it became like a plot point, and I hate that. I hate it so much. I don't think it's fun. I don't like reading about it. It's like advanced miscommunication, and I don't like miscommunication in books. And then there's a section of this that is semi-miscommunication, or purposely, so as a reader, you know something that the characters don't, and I hate it. I really, really hate it, because it would solve so many problems if the only other character who knows would say something, but they're not going to say anything. And you can see that being a problem. Like, this character withholding information is going to cause a problem later on, which is pissing me off, because you can just see it coming from a mile away, and it's just, it makes it not fun. It's unpleasant. I don't like it, and I'm starting to bounce the camera around. So yeah, not enjoying the miscommunication thing, but I have 50 pages left, and I mean, it is like very interesting at the end, but at the same time, it's horribly frustrated because we've also reached a point in this book where the characters are just making dumb decision after dumb decision. And like, I feel like you have to have some dumb decisions to, in a young adult book, to like continue the book forward, but the decisions in this are so dumb that it's becoming painful. So I am starting to get very frustrated, and I don't know how I'm like feeling about this book. It's just making me very angry. So I'm just gonna like power through the last 50 pages and hope it gets better, and I'll let you guys know kind of where I stand at the end of this one going into Deck of Omens. All right, it is about an hour later and I have finished The Devouring Grey. Okay, it actually finished exactly the way that I wanted it to. It wrapped up absolutely perfectly. Everything that happened that I wanted to happen happened. It was fantastic. I feel like it wrapped up in such a good way to go into book 2. Like it is yes, absolutely yes. Everything just like, oh, all the annoying problems kind of wrapped up. Like there's definitely going to be like some fallout in book 2, but I'm not waiting for anyone to like learn stuff. Like I'm not dragging the super annoying parts of this book into the second book. So I could not be happier with how this one ended. So I think it's like a really strong 4. It's a really strong 4 because of how it ended. I think I'm gonna give it like a 4.25. And I feel like that could change depending on the second book, but I feel like a 4.25 feels right. It's definitely not a 5 because of some of the memory things I didn't like and some of the pacing issues in the middle of it, but I definitely feel like it's stronger than a 4, but I don't know if it's at like a 4.5. So this is a really hard one to rate, but I think I'm gonna go 4.25. Anyway, it's not very often that I rate something like 0.25, but sometimes it just feels necessary, and I feel like The Devouring Grey is a perfect example of something that feels like a 4.25. But on Goodreads, I'll probably round it down to 4, which also feels wrong, but I can't give this a 5. It's not a 5. So I'm really excited to start Deck of Omens, and it's going to be really interesting what happens at the beginning of that book because there is a lot of drama that we're going to have to wade through to figure out what's going on. So I am very excited to start that. And this was a super quick read. This was a really, really quick read. So I'm hoping Deck of Omens will also be a very quick read and we can wrap up this vlog relatively quickly. So I may update, I may not. I don't know. Kind of just depends on how I'm feeling about the book. Okay, it is, what day is it? It's August 23rd, Wednesday, and I am back to working on the Wheel of No Appeal video that I have put off for so long. So I am like 82 pages into the Deck of Omens, and I feel like we're just rehashing so much stuff from the first book, which is why I had such a hard time getting into this one, because I did start it like after I finished The Devouring Grey, but there was just so many other things that I wanted to read. I really should have just put up the Devouring Grey video alone instead of being like, I'm gonna read the second book now, but because I like committed to it, that's what I'm doing. So my plan is to read the Deck of Omens and finish that this week so that I can put up the Wheel of No Appeal episode number 5 or 4, what am I on? Because it's been like 5 months since I started it, and that's ridiculous, especially when I literally got like a good pick too. So I'm just like, yeah, I did it to myself. So yeah, working on that. Don't have like a real opinion about the book so far. Like I said, it's just a lot of like rehashing things that we've already gone through and dealing with the fallout from the previous book. So it's a lot of just like feeling each other out, like the characters kind of figuring out where they're at with the other characters. So I'm kind of like just waiting to get more into this and back to like the monster and figuring out what's going on there, because right now it's just taking a while to get into it when I want to read other things. But I'm committed to doing this. I am committed to doing this because I'm also working on an arc video at the same time for September's arcs, and so this needs to come out like the first week of September, and I have like 8 books to get through for the arc video, which is like, so literally after I film this, I'm filming an update for that. So I have no idea what's going to come out first. I assume the Wheel of No Appeal is gonna come out first as long as I stick to reading it. That's the concern right now, but yeah, we're gonna do that right now. We're gonna read, do an update, do some yoga, and you know, things. And out of all the things that was going to happen during this vlog, me coming on here and saying how much I really did not like the second book of the series was definitely not on the list of things I thought I was doing today. So I don't know even where to start with this one. I definitely wish I had just like not read it. Like, obviously the first one ended on a cliffhanger, so I had to read this one. But this was so good. This was so plotted out well. This was so interesting. The slow burn was so good, like in just opening up relationships to the start of things possibly happening in this one. And then this one, it's like the author had no idea what they were doing. It started off really good. It addressed the issues that this one ended off on because there was a big cliffhanger. This addressed the cliffhanger, the issues that were going on, but then it like super backtracked. It backtracked to the point where it was like rehashing all these relationship issues that we already went through in this one and not developing them any further in this one. So when relationship things did start to happen, they didn't really make any sense. So that was horribly frustrating. And then it felt like the first half of this book was just like dealing with the same stuff that this one already dealt with until you could deal with the new things that were happening. I thought the new things that were happening were actually really interesting in this one, but because they spent so much time dealing with stuff from the first one, this one didn't make a lot of sense. I feel like that was my main issue with this book, is I'm kind of lost still about some of the stuff that happened. I'm like sitting here thinking like, okay, but why was it like that? Like that wasn't really explained. Why this came out of nowhere? How did this happen? It was very strange. It was like the author didn't know exactly where they wanted this book to go. And so when they got to the second book, they were like, I don't know what to do. It's like they didn't know what to do with their relationships. They didn't know what to do with some of the characters. And then this book also focused on my least favorite character from this one. She was like the main character in this one, the main reason a bunch of things were happening. So I didn't care about any of that because she was so unlikable in this one and then continued to be unlikable in this one, but was the main focus, that I was just like, whatever. And then the ending was just like, I don't know. It was so anticlimactic for everything that happened in this one. And again, I feel like a lot of it just didn't make sense. I feel like the villain, the corruption was set up so well in this one. And then we got to this one and the author was like, I don't really want to do it like that. There's a lot of loose ends, so let's just fit them all into the corruption and just change how the corruption works. So that's what it felt like. It felt like we finally got a grasp of how the corruption worked and what it was, and then all the rules were changed in this one. So I'm just like, why? Like, what was the purpose of this one then if you were gonna do all this stuff in this one? So Wheel of No Appeal strikes again. This one, what, I gave it a 4.25, but it's definitely going down to a 4 because of what this one was still really good, but oh my gosh, this was a 2. This was a 2, and I was so bored in the middle of it. I feel like it was way longer than it needed to be. Yeah, look how much longer Deck of Omens is. It could have been as big as Devouring Grey and just cut out a bunch of the random stuff that happened in the middle of it. And I'm just so sad because I feel like this like had potential to be such a good series. But do you know what? How I felt about this series is how I felt about her other series, the duology, what was it, All of Us Villains? Something like that. When We Were Villains? I don't remember what it's called. But it's the book series duology that she wrote with Amanda Foody, who I also have problems with finishing series. So Amanda Foody was the author of the Ace of Spades trilogy. And I hated how that one ended. And then this other author was the author of the other duology with Amanda Foody, where the ending was bad, and this ending was bad. So now I'm like, I'm suspicious about these two authors being able to write endings to books. But maybe a lot of people like this ending. I just thought it was super weird how everything tied together. I didn't like it. I don't think it made a lot of sense. I do think the outcome worked. But again, I feel like the relationships were just poorly done in this book, which was an issue in her other duology as well. So now I'm just thinking maybe this author and Amanda Foodie are just not for me because the correlations between the two are ridiculous. They're like so similar in how I feel about their writing, and this did not make it any better. So I'm very frustrated. I'm so frustrated. I was so frustrated. But yeah, Wheel of No Appeal strikes again, another book that I just ended up not liking, but we finished it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Am I upset? Yes. Do I wish this was as good as the first one? Absolutely. Am I glad that I included it in this vlog even though it wasn't supposed to? Yes, because now I don't have to worry about it down the line making me sad. Because no matter at what point I would read this book, I would have been upset about it. So yeah, I'm glad it's over with. Yeah, another book bites the dust. So anyway, that was this episode of The Wheel of No Appeal. I will be spinning again at some point. I don't know. I have so much to read right now that I don't have time for another Wheel of No Appeal, especially with all the stuff that's on there that I don't want to read. So that will probably be a October, November, December thing. We'll just have to see when the next time I spin it is. But yeah, had a semi-good time with this vlog. Other half not so great. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any content. Make sure you like the video if you liked it, and make sure to leave a comment down below if you've read the series. Careful about spoilers. Don't want to do spoilers for anybody. But let me know what you thought about the series, if you read it, if you want to read it, etc. And I'll see you guys in the next video.